I can use that, but you cannot view that much clearly. You can see, but not in detail, like very close components. So yeah, come close. Maybe you have to see this one. This is the actual camera, right? So let's get started. So this is Dell PowerEdge R710. This is 11th generation server from Dell. And when I purchased, like how long now? At least 6 years now. 6 years old hardware, at least 6 year old hardware, and this is still working strongly. Okay, I purchased this server for 75,000 rupees 6 years back, and still it is capable of running version 6.7. Till 6.7 it can run. Okay, so let me walk you through. This is the top panel. Flash if you want, you can talk. This is post top panel view. So here we have multiple sections. This section is called hard disk and CD-ROM section. It's a place where we insert hard disk, CD-ROM, USB port, memory card, and everything. So can you see ST here?
Yes, sir.
This section, you see ST here. This is a place you can insert your memory card. Can you see USB here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is a place you can insert your pen drive. Okay, and this is your DVD. Can you see this?
Yes,
where you can insert a DVD ROM in it. And in front, I have hard disk section. You can come front actually. This is, you can see manufacturer's Dell. This is SAS drive, serially attached SCSI. This is slower than SSD, faster than SATA. Repeating again, this is slower than SSD but faster than SATA hard disk. SSD is the latest technology, and we have something called e-flash drives. Okay, they're all latest fastest drives, and this one is having an RPM of 15,000. You can see this. Okay, and size is how much? 600 GB. Okay, so I have like 2 hard disks. I have 3 actually. Oh, this one is 2 hard disk. I have few more servers. Okay, and let's move little front. This section is called fan section. As you know, server which runs years together, right?
Yes, sir.
And the cooling plays a major role to maintain the temperature within the chassis, right? So we have a CPU here. This is CPU, and under this you have, this is heatsink. Under that you have a CPU. Let me show you like how a CPU port would look like. Socket. We use a naming convention called CPU socket. So this is a place where you will insert CPU. So there are different type of CPUs. So one is called pinned CPU, other one is pinless CPU. So these are all like pinless CPUs. And this is heat sink, where it will absorb the heat. And next one is the RAM DIMM modules. It's a place where we'll insert a RAM. So you can see the RAM. This is folder. This is, you would have seen this.
Yes, sir.
This is RDX.
This is also
Memory card. Memory card for inserting your bootable devices. You can see this is not a normal RAM. We call it as RDIMMs, registered RAMs. Okay, and this is comes with insulator. You can touch the metal part there, that will absorb the heat. You can see external, right? So that will absorb it. Specially designed for service. Okay, there are different speeds in it, like 1330 megahertz, 2600 megahertz, 7200 megahertz. There are different megahertz in it.
So these are all not like the normal.
Normal, no, this is not a normal RAM. This is specially designed for server purpose only. So when you press it, you will see a lock sound, clip sound. Yeah. So can you move little behind? This is called riser cards, where we usually name it like add-on cards. Have you heard about NIC cards, graphics card?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can add those cards here. Okay, there will be an additional add-ons. You can add it, and this server is built up with 4 NIC cards by default. Can you go a little behind? You can see actually here. Can you see GB1, GB2, GB3, GB4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Okay, and also it will come up with the 2 power supplies. We call it as SMPS.
SMPS.
Okay, 2 SMPS, but this one has 1.
Okay.
Okay, and you can run it with 1 also. You will see just an alert there. I will see an advanced server where you can see 2, but I have connected only 1 power in it.
Yeah, sometimes we used to attach from outside also, just in case to make.
Yes, we can remove and reconnect it, not pluggable. So, and also you can see some COM ports here where you can insert your VGA ports, and you will see some USB ports, correct?
Yes.
And there is something called console port here, which is closed here.
Yeah.
And this is we're going to discuss. This is very key actually. Console port is a port which is used to manage the server remotely anywhere in the world.
Okay.
Example, I have a server here.
Yes.
I'm going to show you this server. We're going to power on from our phone.
Okay.
We can power on anywhere in the world. I have a static IP which I configure to the server. Anywhere in the world I can power on, power off. I can install remotely also. I can install OS remotely to the server also. We call it as DRAC port. Dell Remote Access Controller. Okay, I have the version 8. This one is version 6, and I have one more server with version 7, and the latest server which I purchased, that is with version 8. Okay, yeah, this is all about. This is like at least a 7 years old server. At least 7 years old server. I purchased 6 years back. At least before end of life, it would have been come out. So can you keep it back? Come close now. So here I have few more servers, and this is again, can you see server 2 here? This is again Dell PowerEdge. This is little more advanced, where I have 2 more extra CPUs in it. This one you have seen 1 CPU, right?
Yes.
And this one comes with the 2 CPU. Okay, and here I have the very latest hardware called Dell PowerEdge R73XD. You can come close actually. You can see the logo itself changed. It become Dell EMC.
Yes.
Earlier, Dell was a separate company, EMC was a separate company. Now it has become a single company, Dell EMC. And again, this server have hard pluggable. You can remove this hardware on the fly. Okay, here you can see a hard disk. 2 TB SAS. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Serially attached SCSI.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from whom?
HP.
2 TB. I have 2 hard disks of 2 TB each, where I configured RAID 1 for redundancy. Okay, I have one more hard disk here, and this is the latest. How I told you, right? This is the latest cost is like 9 lakhs. Okay, I got it around 7 lakhs with fully loaded, and you're gonna see, and you're gonna work on this server today.
Oh.
Okay, and can you come little behind? Come little behind. I want you to show the complete rack from top. You can see from top. So this is rack which I purchased from APC. This is imported from US.
Okay.
And I had some requirement. I imported this, and when you move down, you have a TP-Link physical load balancer. Can you see this?
Yes.
TP-Link R480T plus, and this is a load balancer, and this is my face detection camera. Like anyone enters this room, automatically detect, and it will send an email also to me. Okay, so any movements you see, it will send an email to me. And this one normal L2 switch, and then we'll move on little front. So I have a TP-Link Wi-Fi router. This has got 5 gigahertz. So this is have a range at least 3 buildings from here. Okay, and I have 150 Mbps line, especially from ACT. I have a static IP. Next one is GF fiber, which I've just added like 1 week before. And this is again 150 Mbps line. So I have 2 150 Mbps lines. If one goes down, the other one will take over. Okay. Yeah. So you can settle back. There was a time I was very much crazy about phones. That is like 8 9 years back. After some time, I invested everything on hardwares only. Okay, I deliver trainings on IoT also. There are few devices I configured in my home with voice control. When I say something, it will automatically enable that and it will turn on. Example, I have configured my water motor in that way. Okay, if I say something, it will automatically turn on a water motor. Yeah, so I can give a demo now. You can just come outside. Maybe you cannot see, but you can. We are just coming back again. Come now. Currently, water motor is not on, but if I want to turn on, I can give a voice command. Okay, Google, turn on water motor. Maybe it's in the call. Okay, Google, it's a voice call. It's not taking my voice. So I'm just ending the call. Okay, Google, turn on water motor. Okay, Google, turn off water motor. Same building, yeah. So we just had a demo on like how my voice command works. Yeah, we just had a demo. Sorry, you couldn't be. Okay, we just demonstrated on IoT device. It's turned on and off automatically. Yeah. Right. So let's come back. Now I'm gonna stop sharing my video. I'm gonna share my screen. So I want one volunteer who can turn on the server remotely. I mean, you can use your phone. I'll tell you what to do. I need camera also, and I need screen sharing also. Let me share my screen. So hope you all can view my screen as well as the video, right? Right. Yeah, please open any one of you. Please open your phone and type this IP 49.205.218 dot. I mean, you all can try, but only one person can execute this command. Including Mahamuni, you can open your browser and type this IP, and I'll give you a port number also. So let me tell you which port you should use. I think Mahamuni, he can, I mean, he is remotely, right? He can turn on the server. Okay, let me give him that access, but you can view. Shivanand, I want you to turn on a server which is presented here in Bangalore. Okay. Okay. Yeah, open your browser and type this public IP which I just gave you, or I'll tell you, like, I'll give you the IP again. 1 minute. Yeah, please. It's 197. I used to type HTTPS or not? HTTPS, yeah. Okay. HTTPS and this I'll put it in chat. Fine. I'll put it in chat. HTTPS. Please use S in front of it. Let me know if you can open. It should look like this. Yeah, I want everyone to try, but I will give one person credential so that he can log in.
Yeah, I got that.
Screen, right? Okay.
I
Very good. Let me give you the credentials to you so that you can. I'll create a user and I'll give you the credential so that you can log in and power on. 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay. Username is admin.
Okay.
Password is B for Bangalore. BELCOME.
One.
BELCOME @123. Sorry. Can you try welcome @123?
All small, right?
All small. Sorry, I'll just give you the correct credential. Wait, I have set up some time back. I don't completely remember that password. Let me reset the credential for you. 1 minute. Everything you'll only do.
Small letter, right?
Lowercase only. I'll give you the password. Just a minute. I'm just setting that password for you.
Okay.
Yes. You can try now. You all can try. Can you try username as admin? Password is B for Bangalore. BELCOME @123. It's working. You all can log in. Okay. Let me know if you have logged in, Shivanand.
Please submit the password. Okay.
Okay. B for Bangalore. Welcome @123. BELCOME. Instead of W, welcome, it's B.
Oh.
You are logged in. Once you logged in, look into my screen. There is one option called power. Don't do anything, sir. Let him do. Click on power configuration. And
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
no man, @123.
One second, this is single. Right,
I think this is the easiest password you can remember, man.
That is the right one, right?
And did you log in?
No, this logging there. Confirming the password.
It's not a BEL, man. BEL. Welcome @123. Just now I typed you.
Okay.
Become, it seems. Become.
So this is our 730D.
730 XT. Yeah, latest version.
Yeah, okay.
You logged in. Click on left hand side. You see something called power or thermal.
Yeah, power thermal.
Click on that. And there you will see power configuration. Click on that. Okay, once you have clicked on it, and here I'm recording the things here. Okay, can you see something called power on and apply? Can you see power on and apply is there, right? Yeah. Can you see apply option down? Right side. Click on apply, please. Click on apply. Yes, yes. Server is on. Can you see a video here? Server is on now. See in video. Server is on. You only turned on. Yeah, you turned on from your home. And server is running in Bangalore now. You see, you hear the sound also. It's turned on. You can see 2 hard disks blinking. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. So I want all of you to, understand this interface first. Have you heard about this remote management anytime? Like you know how to turn on a server. Where did you heard? YouTube you have checked. Okay. You performed in data center. This you do day in day out. You sir, not as of now. Okay. I think okay. Let's hear from Shivanand. Have you ever turned on a server remotely?
Yes, I used to do it routine.
Okay, super. So, but you don't know like how it was configured, right? Yeah. See, I have configured it my home only. See, I have purchased a public IP. I configured some ports so that anywhere in the world I can power on. Okay. Now you can also view a console remotely. Look into my screen. Can you all see something called virtual console? Look into my screen, all of you. There is an option called launch virtual console. You can, it will download one app, Java file, and it will ask you to launch it. When I click on open the file, yes, it will ask you to, update recommend, update the Java file, and then it will launch one console. In that console, we can view what is happening on the server. Example, boot up files. You can go to BIOS. You can change boot options like normal, like how you are sitting in front of the laptop, right? Same thing you can view on that file. So it is downloading and installing that application. You no need to do anything. I'm just showing like how this works. It's updating a Java version. This required some Java plugins, so it's opening that plugins. Sorry. It's updating a Java and it will open a file. See, I'm showing all these things because in production environment, you will not get access to touch a server. You will manage remotely only. Okay, a rare case that you are working in data center, you will get access. But usually a remote support engineer would have never touched a server. If you lost the connection to a remote server, there is somebody called site services team. Their task is just to power on and power off, that's all. And they will replace the hard disk and other basic things they will do. Let me allow user. Hope you joined. Okay, keep yourself on mute. Understanding hardware is very, very important, not in virtualization, in cloud also. Because everything is running on virtualization only. Even though if you want to learn cloud, right, first you need to learn virtualization. Then only you will understand the cloud concept easily. Okay, so the intention to show is like this app will install, then it will show you a screen like what is there. I mean, there will be a primary screen that will give the information about which files are loaded, and you can control remotely also. Like if you want to reboot, so you can see the console. Can you see a console here?
Yes.
The same console, there will be a black color console. The same thing you will see. Since I have installed this Java application is installing, I cannot launch, but later it's installing anyhow. It's in the backend. We don't want to worry about it. Okay, now I want you to look into this. Have a look into this. This is a traditional architecture. So there will be a, hope you are all can view my PPT, right? Yes. Can you see one black color box here? Yes. This is Dell PowerEdge R730XD. What it is? Server. Okay. For that server, there is a network, right? Yeah. For that server, there is a hard disk, right? Just think these are all inside the server only. On top of it, can you see one operating system? Just think like your laptop have some operating system, no? Like XP, Windows 10, 7. On top of it, you have an application. This is the traditional model. One server, one OS, multiple applications. Now you see the latest architecture. Server is same, network is same, storage is same. What happened here? Can you see some blue color? Hypervisor means virtualization software. That's all. This will enable you to build multiple virtual machines. See, currently how many VMs you have? 6. Earlier you were running only one OS, multiple apps. But now because of this you are deploying multiple machines. Okay, you all understood? It is like this. Let's say you have a physical book and a Windows Word document. Physical book, how many book you have now next to you? How many book? Only one book. In Windows Word, you know how many pages you can open? You can open thousands of pages. Book is restricted with only 200, 300 pages. But Windows Word, how many pages? Thousands of pages. Correct now? Just think like virtualization is like that. When you don't have a hypervisor, you can install only one OS. But when you install a hypervisor, you can have multiple operating systems. Okay, let me show you a practical demo to you. See now, I gave one physical public IP, right? See what I'm doing now. See the magic of cloud or IP networking. I just changed the port number, right? See now. I changed the port number from what to what? Sorry? 197 to 89. Correct? Can you see a blue color screen here? Okay, can you see it's asking a username and password? I keep changing the password, so I inserted a old password. So let me, now I have provided a latest password. Can you see now? VMware ESXi, correct? And you will see this name, you have seen this name somewhere. Can you see Dell here? See now, can you see this? Have you seen this somewhere? This is our Dell PowerEdge R730 server, correct? How much of RAM you have? How much laptop RAM you have? 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB. So this is at least how many times stronger? Like at least you would say like 20 times, right? Let's keep like 20 times at least, right? And can you see a hard disk here? 1.81 TB. Okay, so I told you I have 2 TB hard disk, right? Into 2, so I made a RAID on it. That's why you'll get half of the size. Okay, what do you mean by RAID and all? I gave one thing and all. You study and come. RAID means redundant array of inexpensive disks, which is primarily used for load balancing and failover. If one hard disk fails, still your data is safe. Our OS will not be impacted. 2 TB, 2 TB, right? If one hard disk failed, still your OS continue to run in another hard disk. Now, can you see some virtual machines here? Can you see? How many VMs you have? 26, correct? See, I'm running only one hardware, but how many operating systems? 26 operating systems. Are you getting it? I'll show you now. I will show you the differences now. So what I'll do, I'll power on one Windows machine and I will power on one Linux machine. The power of virtualization is on a single hardware you can run multiple platform independent virtual machines. You can run Linux also, you can run Windows also, both at a time. I told you in that diagram you have seen some VMs, right? How many VMs you have? You can run 1024 VMs. How many? 1024. Maximum you can run 1024 VMs on one hardware. Provided you should have that much space. I have 128 GB. I can run 100 VMs. My server is restricted to 100 VMs. But if I have 1 TB of RAM, not 1 TB of hard disk, 1 TB of RAM, then I can run 1000 VMs. 1000 VMs. Right? Let's come back to this. So you can see there is something called a console. Can you see this? Open browser console. Can you see multiple students here? Let me log in. This is a Red Hat machine, Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 8 machine. Okay, and it's loading up. There is browser again. Internet will work on this machine also. Okay, let me bring up one Windows machine. Can you see Windows machine here? And again, there is some credential. See, I can run both Windows and Linux machine at a time, and I can switch and I can view the screen at a time. Can you see this? See, cursor is one now. See, currently I'm in Windows machine, right? See now, I can move to Linux machine on the fly. Can you see? Internet is working or not? And you see, I'll come back to the other machine. See, internet is working. Okay, within this machine, I can test internet speed. Test internet speed. Can you see run test here? I'll run a test. How much speed you have? 93 Mbps. Okay. Yeah, I can run internet speed test here also. Test internet run a test. Can you see? So this is the power of virtualization. In virtualization, you can have only one hardware. Okay, you can deploy multiple virtual machines. All machines can run at a time without impacting other machines. They are platform independent. Linux machine will not impact Windows machine. Windows machine will not impact Linux machines. Understood? Each machine has got their own IP addresses. They have their own C drives. They have their own links. They have their own resources. CPU, RAM, hard disk, everything is available for individual machines. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now you can log in. Log in, all of you. You know the port number, right? Port number is what?
89.
Not in your phone, man. Hey, open your laptop. Phone I asked to turn on only. Use your laptop. Mr. Shivanand. Yeah, I will give you credential now. So let me give usernames to you all. Okay, I will not give root credential. I will give you usernames to you so that you can log in. Look into my screen, all of you. User 1, that is Shivanand. Okay, password. This is your password, Shivanand. Name of the username is user 1 only. Username lowercase user 1. Look into my screen, all of you. User 2. User 2 is Lohit. User 3. Nandan. User 4. What is your name? Subhash. And please don't log in with other usernames. Okay? Gentleman agreement.
Password.
Test at the rate on to see the password. Uppercase is T. Please make a note of your username and password only. Logged in? You all logged in? Let's hear from Shivanand Ji. Shivanand,
Yes, sir.
you logged in?
I'm trying to, what is the port?
Port 89, look into my screen. I think you skipped, man.
No.
Your baby was disturbing, huh?
No.
Okay. Look into my screen. This is the port number 89.
49, 205, 218.
Dot 110. Chat, you make a note, otherwise.
Instead of 197, it can be
89. See, anywhere you can connect from anywhere now. You can connect from home also. This is. Can you see a machine there? Can you see a Red Hat machine there? Power on that machine. Power on, and username is student. Password is Red Hat. This is a demo only. I'm just showing everything. I have not started the session yet. These are all. It logged in. Okay. Enjoy your day. See, you have a control. You can see only one VM. I can see all VMs. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
This is user permission.
Only one item is shown.
Yeah. Shivanand, did you log in?
Yeah, Master. I log in.
Okay. Can you see a VM there?
Yeah, one Red Hat VM.
Power on.
Student.
Power on and login. Click on student. Password is Red Hat.
Okay.
Yes. And now you are the administrator for that VM. In production environment, there will be lot of teams: production, testing, development. Okay, we will build VMs like this, but we will not give like this kind of access. We'll give you PuTTY access or RDP access, remote desktop. That I will teach you. Okay. At this time, I want you to remember the architecture, like how I have built. I have one server. For that server, I gave you one public IP. There was one port number. We powered on remotely. One server has come up. We used a different port number. We logged into that machine. We could see some machines are there, right? There are different users like user 1 and user 2. For them, I have given a different set of permission where they can see a specific machine itself. Understood? So you try to digest this.
Sir, I have one. How many port numbers we can give?
You can give 32,000 ports. Good question. Look into my screen. Look into my screen. Maximum TCP ports number 65,535. This is the for 16-bit, in case if you have assigned a 16-bit one. But in practice, we have 33,000 ports. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. You can access this from your phone also. Public IP is same, whether you use in laptop or in phone, it's same. Okay. Chrome is same now. So you can access anywhere in the world. Okay. So can you turn off your Red Hat Linux machines? Turn off your machines.
What is the password? Student.
Red Hat. Yeah. Now, yeah. Tell me, sir.
I have opened your Red Hat machine.
No problem. Nah, that is not my machine. I opened your machine. That is
Can I turn off that one?
user 1. That is your machine only.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go back to my PPT. Have a look into my screen. This is how we accessed it. Have a look into this virtual architecture, expanded use of physical resources, reduced management and maintenance cost. See, in an organization, if I keep 1,000 physical servers, no, for them to manage them, I have to deploy 20 engineers. How many?
20 engineers.
So each floor I will keep some 100 to 150 machines. Then I'll deploy, no, not 100, like 70 plus machines. Then I'll deploy engineers to manage them. Just think about power, cooling, everything. It is not practically possible. So what I'll do, I'll deploy virtual machines now, but no one will run all 1,000 machines in one hardware. Maximum I have seen 100 to 150. Okay, because redundancy, failover, many things are there. For that purpose, they'll run 100 machines in one server. It's a advantage, right? Instead of running only one OS in one hardware, 100 machines I can manage from one single portal. Yeah, you see, improved desktop manageability and security. One more thing is security. Okay, if I have 100 of servers, no, let's take, there is a hacker, there are 100 IPs, right? You can hack into one physical server and then you can take the data, or the chances of failing the hardware is high. Just think about investment of 1,000 servers. How much it will be? It will be in crores only, right? I don't have that much money, so I'll go with virtualization. And availability of applications always available. We have something called cluster concept. Okay, so it will enable, so like how we have hard disk, right? Similarly, application clustering is available. If one VM is failed now, still you can run your application in another VM. It will give you high availability, increased operational flexibility, many things. See, once upon a time, if you want to manage our bank accounts, we used to go to bank, correct? We will give one passbook. For that, there will be big queue. That fellow will print and give it to you. That's the only way we get to know that our balance. Then ATM has come, we will check our balance there. Right? Now, do we need to go to bank? We have a mobile app where you can manage.
Cannot be connected. Please call again later. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕರೆಯನ್ನು
After 35 minutes, I think automatically it's giving a message. That's not be, I don't know. Let him connect. Mic issue is there. See how I'm trying all possible ways to teach him. Hello? Here, can you hear now, Shivanand?
Yes, sir, I can hear it.
Okay, yeah. So now we have a mobile app. We can request for a credit card online. We can open a term deposit online. We can request for a checkbook online. There are all services online, one place. That makes our management easy, right? Same thing here, all at one place. Yeah, have a look into this. You can take a note. You can take a note. Like you can write down this diagram, like comparison traditional architecture. Write down first headline, traditional architecture, and write down this. I'll give you few things to write down, few I'll give it in the soft copy only. This is very important. I want you to compare, that's why I'm asking you to write down. You don't need to write exactly like this. Maybe you can put one box and then you put hardware, operating system, application, only this section you can mention. Next one, instead of operating system, hypervisor, then multiple VMs. We supposed to take a break at 9:30. We missed it. We will leave session by 11:15 a.m. today. So traditional architecture, I told you, right? There are many servers. Management is not easy. High management and maintenance cost, physical infrastructure cost, insufficient failover and disaster protection. So whatever I said over theory, same thing here, but it is in individual points. Done.
So this Red Hat was installed while creating this virtual machine.
Correct. At the time of creating a virtual machine, it will ask you which OS you want. I have selected Red Hat. Correct. There is a ISO image pointed and then deployed. You learn throughout the session only. You will deploy at least 3-4 machines. Wait. Write down virtual architecture. For Shivanand, these are all known things, but there are few basic things he can add up.
Yes, sir, there's a new for me.
Okay. As of now, you know how to power on a machine, but there are few facts like what is happening in the backend. Those facts you are learning in core now from the scratch. Yeah.
What session is this?
Till 11:15 a.m. And your shift starts at 12 something.
11:30.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Tomorrow, 11 o'clock, you are free.
You have to start at 11, is it?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll cut short the break and we'll keep the session till 11 a.m. In that case, we have to start at 8 a.m. Would be comfortable?
Yeah, I will prepare myself at 8 p.m.
8 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check with others. Guys, tomorrow you got to start little early. Shall we start at 8 a.m.? If you don't mind. Subhash, will it be possible?
15 minutes will be okay.
Sorry?
15 minutes will be.
That's okay. Buffer time is okay. But you will be here by 8:15, right? That's okay. Or in case if you can't make it, you can connect from home also. If you think it's far, you can.
Housemate is covered at time morning.
Okay. Yeah, whichever the convenient way for you, you can. Yeah. This guy is coming from JP Nagar. It's almost like 18 kilometers, I guess, from here. 20, yeah? 20 kilometers. Where do you stay, sir? This is again little far, like 17-18 kilometers. What drives you is matters. You love, you want to study, that's what is driving you. Keep the momentum going for another 10 days and you will see the difference.
So in this session, we will use putty commands also, right, sir?
We use commands also, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And patch installation, certificate installation.
Everything is there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we have one topic called update manager. We will attach the host. We have something called staging and remediation. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a normal associate professional training. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, done. Okay, moving on. Yes. So now I'll keep this diagram here. Virtual architecture, it will look like this. Now you need to understand what is hypervisor. Okay, for that I am moving on to my handwritten notes, or I will draw a diagram so that you will understand. Have a look into my screen, all of you. If you look into the hypervisor, hyper means many. Okay, visor means devices or machines. Hypervisor, multiple machines. Okay, how you can achieve multiple machines? When you have a hardware, this hardware have many resources. There are many resources. One of the resources is called CPU, RAM, network, and hard disk. These are the core things which you needed for any server. CPU, RAM, NIC, hard disk. Remember this. Okay. These resources at stage 1 would be taken by hypervisor. So let me bring ESXi or hypervisor. Okay. Name of the product is called ESXi. Repeating again, hypervisor is a general terminology. ESXi is the product name itself. When you install ESXi, what will happen? It will enable multiple machines. Do you agree? Right? Yeah. So what do you mean by hypervisor? Here is the meaning. Hypervisor is nothing but a software or firmware
which help us to create more number of virtual machine in a single physical.
How do you know, man?
Yesterday I saw your video.
You saw my video. Very good.
By coming like this, I saw the video.
See, that is the spirit, man. Software or firmware which enables you to deploy ESXi is a software, shall we call like that? After installing ESXi or a hypervisor software, it will enable what? Linux machine, Windows machine. This is called platform independent. Understood? Hypervisor is nothing but software or firmware which enables you to deploy multiple platform independent virtual machines. Right? Yeah. Now, next meaning is virtual machine. What is virtual machine? Virtual machine is nothing but a software based machine, because I have created through a software only. Point number 2, which has got all properties of physical machine. Do you all agree?
Yes, yes.
Made up of virtual hardware. Example, virtual CPU, virtual RAM, virtual NIC. So I'll show you this practically. Okay, I think it's got removed. Okay, I'll just show you now. Here. Can you see VM1, VM2, VM3? So this machine required CPU, this machine required RAM, this machine required hard disk, this machine required network. All these machines required its own resources, right? This resource is called virtual hardware. Okay, see here. See the distribution. Can you see this? See this diagram. Can you see virtual resources?
Yes, sir.
Physical resources means what? Which you can touch. You have seen RAM, right? This is a physical resource. This is being distributed to whom? Virtual machine. Can you see how it is distributed? Can you see a dotted line?
Yes, sir.
Who distributes? Can you see this? Hypervisor. Awesome. vSphere or hypervisor. vSphere means it's a product name again. VMware vSphere. So here,
Application.
huh?
vSphere is an application.
Application. Yeah, again I'll come. You have seen that video. I'll come to that. You watch that video, you will understand. Okay. So just thought to show you when I was drafting it. So I just shown that. So let me write down again. Virtual machine. Number one, it's a software based machine. Which has got all properties of physical machine. Properties means what? See, in physical machine, can I install OS?
Yes.
Virtual machine also I can install OS. Physical machine I can attach a hard disk. Virtual machine also I can attach a hard disk. Anything you can do in a physical machine, normal laptop you can do in virtual machine.
It's like a
See,
replica. Touch, but in virtual.
You cannot touch, but you can do all operations. Yes. Made up of virtual devices. Example, vCPU, VRAM, VNIC, VHDD. Okay, write down this. And write down benefits of using virtual machine. Let me know if you have written this. Done? Have you written this? All of you, write down. Once you finish writing, then you can write down benefits of virtual machine. Done?
Yeah.
Now I want you to write down this benefits of using virtual machine. Why you should use virtual machine? You write down this theory. Tomorrow I'll explain what is virtual machine and other benefits of virtual. Just write down theory.
So if we wanted some more extra hard disk in a virtual machine, so we can take from other virtual machine.
Not from other virtual machine. I'll tell you, there is a something called data store. From that place you can take. See, if you want to create a folder, from C drive only you are creating a folder, right? Similarly, there is something called data store. From that place we can give additional hard disk. There's a dump. There is a space is available. From that we'll pull, not from a different machine, through unused resources in a hardware.
But if we gave one, let's say 130 GB for 1 VM, so if it is not used, so can we use this?
That is there. We have something called thin provisioning. That automatically it will provision to other machine. That is automatically done by hypervisor only. It's possible. It can take. But when we are manually assigning, that time we have to give a proper size to a specific machine. Okay, now let me halt here. Next 10-15 minutes I want you to go through whatever we discussed today. Okay, open your book and just see like what you learned. First thing you learned about the hypervisor, right? And you can also ask if you have any questions. I'll clear. And I want you to take some assignments also. Write down few questions here. I want answers tomorrow. What is the difference between public IP and private IP? What is the difference between public IP and private IP? Next one, what is port forwarding? What is port forwarding? What is NAT? NAT, network address translation, and how it works? Difference between TCP and UDP ports. Difference between HTTP and HTTPS. Yeah, this is like very basics only, but very much important for a production environment. See, slowly I'm seeding few things to you. You will add to this learning. Okay, I want answers tomorrow. Watch some videos. Come prepared. You should give demonstration. You should tell me, sir, this is how it works. Okay. See, you may be busy today after back to work. Whenever you spend 30 minutes at least, or wake up early tomorrow, half an hour sit, get answers, and come back. And I want you to study every day. Whatever we discuss, study every day. In your video also is there. Study every day, and keep adding day by day. You keep your notes with you. Whatever you learn, keep writing. Okay. Yeah. Do you have any question, Shivanand, for me? Shivanand?
No, okay.
Okay.
No questions.
Okay, fine. So the notes are here. Tell me.
Hypervisor is the only software.
It's a software, that's all. Yeah.
Is it the only software from where we can create virtual machines, or any other software is also available?
That's the only software you create virtual machine. Hypervisor is the only software.
So I have questions after.
Yeah.
One is this
Okay, you want to call me?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
For some reason in the notes I could not able to. Anyhow, you have made a note, right? This one. Hypervisor means what? You have made a note, right? Virtual machine means what? You made a note. Okay. Okay, so today what I'll do, I will upload this Mastering vSphere 6.7 book and I will share a link. Okay, you can start going through that book also. Right. So, and one of the checklist is we have sent something called JOT forms. Can you see this JOT form, all of you? Look into my screen. JOT, you can see, I mean, it's there in your WhatsApp, and for you, I have sent an email, sir. If you click on JOT form, this is student registration form. Okay, you can put your name, email address, phone number, address, and which course you are learning. Okay, you can check this vSphere 6.7. Like you can mention like what are the expectation you had. Okay, and the payment information. Okay, and also course material. We usually give PDF book, a book and a pen when a session starts. Okay, now everything is online, people are joining online. You can mention this, select only this tick mark. Okay, and you can fill your information and then upload your image. We are maintaining student database also, so in future we will send an email with job openings for tracking purpose. You can do this. Can you fill this now? Fill this. We have another 10 minutes. You can fill it. Meanwhile, I'll stop recording the session.